part of the world. But a very warm welcome to all of you. My name is Vijay Mistry, preparing you for growth and excellence. And our purpose is to see you leaders achieve standards of excellence in everything you do and scale up your business with ease. Now, my dear friends, today I am joined by my business partner, Soin Shah, who is in Nairobi, Kenya. I'm based here in London, United Kingdom, and we have a company, Rent a Director, back in Kenya. He's looking after all the affairs in the Africa region. And Soin, how's it going down there?
It's going very well. It's a bit of a cold day today, but things are going quite well. The goodness is we have the Safari Rally that is back in Nairobi,
Oh, yeah.
and today I understand as we speak, in a couple of minutes, the first cars are about to be flagged off. So it's a real exciting moment for people in Kenya here.
Fantastic, fantastic. Good to hear that, Soin. All I want to tell you is today we are going to share some insights on how you can develop a high performing work culture. Now, you and I know that toxic culture can be detrimental to the growth of any business. It doesn't matter whether it's a department or whatever organization, whatever sector you are in. Culture itself plays a critical role in everything we do. And here's the thing, there are different segments. You see, the culture, there's the board level, you could have the management level as well as the front line as well, operational activities as well. And in many instances, we have experienced concerns when it comes to culture. And today, I'll just hand it over to Soin to share, to begin by sharing some of the key challenges. And this is going to give you some sort of a realization. It will open up a different level of perspective altogether for you. And later on, we'll share with you how you can overcome some of these challenges out there. And we'll even give you some tools as well so that you can implement those as you move forward. So over to you, Soin. If you can start sharing, and you and I, Soin, we have, I think by now we have coached, consulted, and helped organizations. I mean, over 100 of them in the last 1 year. So, what has your experience been? What is some of the common pattern of challenges which you can share so that everybody gets a perspective from your particular workflow?
Thank you very much, Vijay, for opening up the floor. And I must say that there are so many challenges that we have seen as as we started this journey, and having coached so many of the leaders in London and UK and across the world, there are certain exhibits, there are certain aspects of leadership that we have seen that are proving to be a challenge, and this is what has led to many organizations deter in their journey towards success and excellence, and that is what we have all been talking about, and we want to actually lead to correct these things. So as Vijay said, I would like to highlight some of these aspects which need to be really looked at with a microscope. One of the main things that I would like to say is that some of the leaders have failed to lead others. And the main reason being is lacking the vision. Now, when they don't have a vision, they basically, we are talking about a tunnel vision, vision that is fickle, huh? And it's non-existent vision that will cause leaders to actually fail. And this has been a problem for a number of companies, because when your subordinates are looking up to you, they need to see the person whom they are following. They need to see the influence being exuded to the brim, and that is where organizations then move forward towards achieving the dream. So this is very important. And I always say that if leaders who can't see it probably won't find it. This is typical, and the results are actually what culminates as a result of following on the true vision. The second aspect that I want to talk about is clearly when leaders fail to lead themselves, and this is what we talk about is when we see a clear breakdown in communication. I would like to point out to you is one of the major aspects that so many organizations have this kind of issue is when people have a one-way traffic of communication. It cannot lead to any success when there is only one-sided thought process or one-sided thinking or one-sided communication. When the traffic is flowing on both sides is when the knowledge accumulates, the vision starts building and extrapolating, and the journey is set, and actual the buying starts being got in. There is collaboration that happens. This is very instrumental in making sure that organizations succeed in this manner. I'll move to another key point, and that is we have seen it in many organizations where companies have leaders who know it all, who seem to say that they know it all, and this is a manifestation of the ego, and it's really a weak culture where you know when leaders say that I don't want to get into knowing every part of the organization, they have they basically they have lost the plot in the sense that the curiosity which needs to be there from the inside to know every part of the organization and then build from it, and also get all the individuals who have a certain portion of knowledge which needs to be captured. Now, broadening this base and furthering and knowing has become is always a journey. You cannot say that I'm going to rest on my laurels and continue with what I know, and you want to discard all the important knowledge that is coming your way. Now, this is what leads to a lot of, how do I say, it's actually, in an accounting language, it's more like a depreciation. It's a major depreciation. And it's actually a write off. As far as knowledge, you're writing off a lot of knowledge that can come to your way if you fail to take up what other people or other entities or other staff who may have a lot of immense knowledge in a particular subject matter. So this aspect of know it all is something that needs to be seriously addressed, and we have seen it so many times. It really overpowers on improving and going to the next level. So this is something that needs to be really addressed and toned down so that you are course corrected and on your way towards success. I will I will go to something else that again touches upon this third point, and that is when some of the leaders take it that it is all about them. Now, it nowadays we always say that leadership, and there is a word that in business sometimes is ignored, and that is love. That's really ignored, and that needs to be brought to the forefront. A lot of this thing is about being empathetic towards your subordinates and understanding the real issues, going down to the ground and realizing what are the real issues that need to be tackled. There is one thing that we always say, that a leader is responsible. What does responsible mean? It's not about taking credit of everything. It's actually the other way around, because you are actually giving credit to the others and taking the flak for what's going wrong. And that is what is being accountable is all about. So coming back to the point is that, where let's, empathy, humility, and kindness are are always signs of leadership strength and not weakness. This is something key and needs to be really taken up, embraced, and put forward so that leaders take companies to the next level. If you notice, there are companies that are world listed and are progressing very far ahead, and we can name names like Apple, uh, Intel, I mean Microsoft. You will see in their organizations that love is not lost. It is actually placed in the right way. The employees are actually taken in the are actually managed in the right way and guided, and that's where you find that the organizations are progressing in the in the correct direction. And then, of course, the results show it for themselves. So what more do you want? I mean, so what I would say is that these are certain two words that are never heard together, leadership and love, but it's important that they need to be considered together. Now,
Yes.
I'll come to the last point, and that is I touched upon it a bit earlier. That is the lacking of focus, and I'll not take a lot of do because I know I've already taken a lot of your time. But this is one aspect is it really needs to be looked at very detailed. It's about having the balance and more about it's having a balance and having also priorities in place. This is very important. You know, most of the leaders that we have in this world, if you look at it, who are going places, have a ruthless determination towards ensuring that they are focused. So this is key. Now, those leaders who lack focus and attention to detail need to apply a lot of leverage and resources in an aggressive and committed fashion. They actually they end up perishing along the way, and this is a real problem. There, you see, when there is a lack of discipline, and they will not be able to model the correct behaviors to make sure that they are going towards what they have already set apart. You know, as I had earlier alluded to, that the whole organization need to be aligned. So when there is lack of focus towards that vision, then you have lost the plot in the process. So it's key that intentions must be aligned with results for readers to be effective. With that, I would like to say, and I would like to summarize that my 5 points. Basically, leaders need to know how to lead others and how to embrace them together. How do they improve their communication? That is key. They have to let go of know-it-all culture, which is a scourge. It's a disease that needs to be let go, and it should never be all about them. They need to embrace leadership and love together. And last but not least, the aspect of having the focus. Over to you, Vijay.
Thanks, Soin. I think you basically cracked the nut in some shape or form, and you've given some pretty uh, confronting. You confronted reality, as I see, as far as culture is concerned. Just one point is that all the viewers who's watching right now, please say hello. I mean, you can comment, you can ask questions, absolutely no problem. I've got Olaide here. Hello to you as well from wherever you're tuning in. So wherever you're tuning, please pass your comments over, and we are live, so we can see all the comments and everything. Now, so in what you mentioned is so important, and it's the key drivers for impact for organizations. And here's where I just want to extend to what you have said is basically the mindset itself. Just like they say, 80% is the mindset and 20% is the skills and competencies. And here's the thing, that mindset has to change. And in order for the mindset to change, certain habits and certain disciplines have to be instilled. I always say that you have to move from distraction to discipline. You need to make sure that rather than interrupting or rather than intruding or instructing, it has to be all inclusive. So it has to be integrated as well. It has to be all embracing. Just like what you mentioned about this know it all syndrome, which we have seen. And the other key point which I realize is that mental flatline. In other words, people want to grab the knowledge, people want to absorb as much knowledge, as much information as
Absolutely.
they can. But when it really comes to making those changes, and you and I know that change is discomforting, any new experience or any new thing or any new initiative or venture or whatever you do is going to be discomforting in the beginning, and it's going to lead to some experiences, maybe positive, maybe negative. It could be a positive result or it could be a failure. Here's the point, if it's a failure, you learn from it. If it's a positive result, you will try improvising and seeing what you can do to improve. The problem is, this know it all syndrome is one which sort of suppresses the accelerated growth for organizations. And I know you and I, we are going to have another session on diversity as well and inclusivity as well, because that plays a pivotal role. I mean, today only I was reading in one of the articles here on BBC that Buckingham Palace has just got 8.5% ethnicity in their mix, in their staff mix, which is appalling in my opinion. But anyway, the fact of the matter here is that work culture has to be conducive, just like what you mentioned, Soin. And Soin, I just want to throw it back to you for the viewers watching right now, to give them a better perspective. Can you give a 3-minute example, a practical example of what you have cited out there, and what seems to be the roadblock? If there's a practical example you can pick from the basket of clients that we have served and some of the problems they have faced, maybe you can give a practical example so that people can get a perspective on this.
Of course, thank you, Vijay. Of course, I wouldn't allude to who these are because we have worked with many. But let me give you an example of a couple of brothers whom we had engaged and were coaching and working on a transformational exercise for their business. It was clear they had the desire to grow, but of course, all the four brothers had very divergent views, and we actually set out on a path to, and we uh, actually worked on aligning their visions together and making sure that we have charted a path for them to succeed. Along the way, I mean, of course, when you have actually charted the way out and you're actually then following the blueprint that has been set out with the structure and the framework in place, you have to make sure that you're disciplined. But in this case, unfortunately, they lost the critical aspect of discipline, and yes, they were involved in a couple of businesses, but what happened is because of, as I earlier alluded to, is the dabbling aspect, and something else came along the way, and they caught up. They got caught up in that. So they were in their real business was a business of hardware, but of course they got attracted into the aspect of investing in building houses, acquiring land banks, and if you really look at the current scenario that we are in, it's a difficult scenario. Cash flow, liquidity is tight, and when we invest in things like land which are not productive, and you want to amass a sizable land. Yes, understandably that money is available, but then if you look at the bottom line, the results that you're looking for is returns. If these returns are not coming across, then what is the purpose of having amassing a land bank? So clearly, the plot of actually succeeding and excelling in the business that their core strengths were was lost along the way. This would have been really interesting because everything was going very well. The only aspect was that they needed to put in the right resources, which were clearly identified. The other aspect that needed to be looked at was making sure that these resources were monitored. And this is clearly, again, pointing out to the point of focus. Now, of course, when you're saying monitoring, you have to actually observe and see what's going the right way. What is not going correct, you need to correct it. You need to look at it on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. And this is where you need to work with the plan, check, act cycle. This was not clearly adhered to, and the attention went more into other activities which were not core. So, point being is that yes, you might have a hobby of doing that, but hobbies are meant for spare time. Let's not lose focus on what is the clear core business that needs to be attended to. When you have your spare time, please indulge. No one is going to stop you because it's not going to deter the priorities that have been set. So, bottom line with this short story, I think I have alluded to all the other 5 points which I had earlier mentioned, and how leaders can actually take their business to the next level.
Excellent.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Yeah, that was absolutely brilliant. At least we find out that many dilute their focus rather than bringing their time, energy, and attention on the core issues of growth and progress. So rather than the dilution, which comes from distractions or which comes from other opportunities, um, we don't know whether that's an opportunity, because there's a fine line between opportunity and greed in some instant. And in another session, I think Swin and I will share something on risk as well, because that is another key wake-up call we want to share with you, but that's for another session. What I'm picking up from this particular discussion and from our experience as well is how you can develop a high-performing work culture. So what are those 4 or 5 key elements? First and foremost, just like what Soin has mentioned, is collective intentions at the top. Clarity comes from the top. The second issue is the assertion at the top as well. Not being just influenced. It's good to have views, it's good to have perspective from everybody, but it's very important to ensure that you got the hard facts and make the decisions which is going to be true to the growth success of the organization. The third element is obviously what Soin has mentioned, having a compelling vision. And this is not just any vision, it should really be felt within your DNA as well. It has to be hardwired, not only in you, but all your employees, everybody, all your team members, everybody must be feeling that vision so they can translate it into results. Bite-sized stretch. In other words, you have to step them out of their comfort zone. Progress equals to happiness, progress equals to ignition, progress equals to momentum and dynamism. So in order for them to progress, you need to even allow them to test the waters, bite-sized waters, but stretch them out of their comfort zone.
Yes.
Another key element is obviously training and development. making sure that you have the right training and development, because it is so critical to have that training and development. And one thing I can press upon before I just pass to Soin to share his views is making sure that you think about having an accountability partner or somebody who can help you to elevate, because you are the same person you are 5 years ago, except for the people whom you have met, the books you have read, or whatever you have watched, all the training and development and everything. But here's the thing. Soin mentioned something about moving into a different level of peers and mentors at the end of the day. So look into how you can have a better moving part for you to align towards progression to excellence, which is our flagship theme, is helping you to progress to excellence. So these are some of the building blocks for you to have a high performing culture: engagement, empowerment, enrichment, effectiveness, efficiency, engineering, energy. All that combined will culminate into enlightenment, which is our excellence framework. That is our Rent Director framework. But I'm just giving you this perspective so you can pick up these cues for you to succeed as you move forward. So, in some final words and something that you want to add to what I've said?
I think I just want to add a bit of flavor on the top, and that is, we talked about culture. Now, let me tell you, culture is not bought; it is built. And how is the culture built? It is what kind of people you bring into the organization. What kind of people, meaning, are they smarter than you? Then that is where you will go. If you bring people who are not going to contribute on various spheres, then obviously you will be left behind. And that thirst for knowledge needs to be there. That fire in the belly is very important. Now, this aspect of making sure that attitudes are correct. The other aspect is work ethic. This is very important. Now, we are all in this area of we are all in this pandemic, and we are slowly getting out of it. I want to tell you something that's a learning thing. It's some learning from this pandemic that I would like to share with you. When the pandemic was going all across, it was moving at a very fast speed. Now imagine if you take the positives out of that and say that I want to bring in people who have a fantastic culture, work attitude, ethics towards work. This can be a contagion in an organization, and that is what will lead to the success of the organization. This is very key in making sure that organizations succeed. There is always I have heard of this saying, and that says talent begets talent. So I'm sure it's very true in so many of those organizations. When you bring in the talent of the right mindset, it will attract talent of that kind of mindset even better. And that is what will grow the organizations and take it to the heights that the founders or the visionaries want it to go. So I think, just as I said, I wanted to bring in that bit of flavor from my side, a bit of 2 cents. Over to you, Vijay.
Thank you, Soin. I think that is very insightful. I just want to give a big shout out to Daktari Daniel, Harun, Olaide. Very good to have your comments. Thank you very much. Daktari Daniel from Nairobi, Kenya. So very happy to have you here. And I hope all of you are getting some value and insights from what we have shared today. So I think in a nutshell, you pick some insights, and some of the tools is that you have to step out from your comfort zone and do something different. So you mentioned about compassion, about empathy as well. Connectivity comes from being authentic. So rather than, I was, Soin and I, we've attended so many board meetings, and we've attended so many management meetings as well. And we have spoken to many CEOs, directors, and in different sectors. And one thing that we want to bring to surface is, rather than being superficial, very important to be authentic, because authenticity is going to help you to move forward. Accepting your
Absolutely.
weaknesses, you and I, we all have some weaknesses at some point which we need to really sharpen upon. A recent example, Soin and I mean, I was coaching somebody in one of these companies, head of sales, and I mean, when I asked him, "What's your weakness?" I think, Soin, you relate to that, and I hope you remember what he. It seems he didn't have any weakness, and it was a bit of a story altogether for another day. But what we are trying to bring at is to accept the fact that there are certain areas, accept the fact that you need to really improve. Even I need to improve. So we all are in a journey which is work in progress. So we need to step up the game. The only way we can step up the game in a better format is by asking those relevant, incisive questions. And those questions can relate to, how can I become more effective? Specifically, mindstorm on this. And if you start asking the right questions, it's going to help you to heighten intelligence at the end of the day. So, my dear friends, look, I'm going to end at this particular point in time. I think we've run a bit longer than anticipated. It's now 31 minutes. But look, thank you so much for joining this particular session. We're going to share more insights next week in another session. So please tune in. And I hope you enjoyed what Soin and I had to share. Soin, thank you very much. Any last buys and any last comments?
No, I think it was a fantastic session. As always, Vijay has always been pushing me to make sure I come out, and this has been our second live session. I think this has been less of the IT glitches. I guess we will keep on improving as we go along, but
Absolutely.
I think it's in the right step, and I think it's all about being fluid in nature, and this is what we want to practice. And I appreciate that, and we move on to the next one.
Excellent,
Thank
excellent.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Soin. And I think in the next ones, we're going to share diversity and inclusivity. We are going to share ESG as well. We are going to share governance aspect, the loosely defined governance aspects. We're going to share about how you can grow your company, but at the same time, become a world-class leader. It's about impact. It's about growth. It's about insights. It's about making sure that you heighten your level of intelligence. So thank you very much for joining this session, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye for now.
Bye for now. Thank you.